Alright guys, today we're going to be going over the Module 4 test review. So the first question says the slope of the line perpendicular to the line above would be blank because perpendicular lines have the slope that are blank. So first we know that same slope is parallel. So I don't even need to know what perpendicular is to know that it is not the same or equal. So I know this is perpendicular. Alright, so we have the opposite or negative reciprocal. So we know negative means flip the sign, and the reciprocal means flip the fraction. So in order to do that, I need to find what this line is. So I'm going to use y equals mx plus b to find the original line. So I know b is -1. I know x doesn't change, y doesn't change. Now I need to get from this point to the next point. Remember, you always go left to right. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. So my slope is 4 over 3. Now because it's going up and to the right, it's positive. And now I'm going to find its reciprocal. I'm always talking about the slope. I'm going to flip the sign. It was originally positive. I'm going to turn it negative. 3 over 4. So the reciprocal slope would be -3 over 4. And that's it for number 1. For number 2, it says write the equation of the following graph. I'm going to do the same thing we did over here. We need our y equals mx plus b, where b is your slope. B is your y-intercept. And m is your slope. I'm going to start with finding my y-intercept. We always start with our y-intercept. Our y-intercept in this case is +4. I know x doesn't change, y doesn't change. Now I just need to find our slope. Remember, slope is rise over run. How many do we go up or down, left or right to get from one point to the next? Now we always read our graph from left to right. So I'm looking for a point that I know exactly on the left side that's traveling to the right side. So I'm going to look here. I know this has 4 little spaces, so I know they're counting. Right here, this is -1, this is -3. So I know this would be 1. Alright, so I know this point. -2, 1. So now I'm going to travel from here to here. I need to go up 1, 2, 3, going up 3, and then over 1, 2. So our slope is 3 over 2. Now you need to be careful with scales. This could mess you up. Each box is worth 0.5, so each 2 boxes is worth 1. Alright, number 3. It says which equation will represent the parallel line represented by y equals 2x plus 3 and passes through the point 0, -7. Alright, so parallel, I know they have the same slope. And my slope in this case is 2. Well, this one has -2, -1 over 2, -2, -1 over 2. So just by knowing that, I know it's this. Could have also known that -7 is the y-intercept, so my b in y equals mx plus b should have been -7. But all of them have a y-intercept at -7, so that wasn't too helpful. But in case there was only one with -7, you would know that this is the b. Alright, says Sarah wants to make a snack when she gets home from school. He decides to cook some bagel bites. The instructions on the package say to cook 1 bagel bite, you need to cook it for 1.5 minutes. For each additional bagel bite, you need an additional 2.5 minutes to the cook time. Which equation can be used to determine the total time y to cook x number of bagel bites? Alright, so I know our first bagel bite was 1.5. That's how much we start with. We always know the start is our y-intercept. So I already know that's my y-intercept. Why? Because y-intercept always represents where we start, And before you can do anything, before you decide to add on any more bagel bites, you have to heat up your bagel bite for 1.5 minutes. And that's positive because there's no such thing as negative time. I know my y doesn't change and my x doesn't change. Now, just off of that, I already know the answer is C. But let's finish out the problem. Now, it says any additional bagel bite is 2.5 minutes. So X represents my bagel bites. These are my additional bagel bites. Now, let's say I want 1 bagel bite. I'd have to do 2.5 times 1 because it's only 1 bagel bite. But let's say I wanted 3 bagel bites. I'd have to do 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 3 times, and that's what multiplication is. So our answer is C. For the multiplication ones, remember, use process of elimination. Even if you don't know the full answer, getting halfway can get you the right answer. All right, number 5. Which of the following graph shows the progression of the price of tickets sold at the Amway Center from 2007 to 2016? So the correlation, well, we know our dots are all close together. So when they're close together, they have a strong relationship. And if we put our little person on the mountain and he's going from left to right, he's going to be going up the mountain. So it's positive. And that's it for that one. Okay, number 6. It says the table shows the average grades Y in math class for the different number of absences X. So I already know X is absences, Y is the grade. The situation can be modeled by the equation Y equals negative 3.5X plus 86. Which statement best interprets the y-intercept? Well, if I'm following y equals mx plus b, I know the constant, the number at the end, is my y-intercept. So I'm going to be looking at what this 86 means. So in my answer, I already know 86 needs to be included. So I'm going to eliminate A and I'm going to eliminate B. All right. Now, if we look at our data, let's look at for every 1 absence, how much is our grade dropping? Well, it's dropping 3.5. From 79 to 75.5, 3.5. So I know that my slope represents that we're going down 3.5. Every day that our students are absent, their grade is going to go down an average of 3.5%. So I know the y-intercept is always 0, y. That means x is always 0. If I were to plug in 0 for x, 0 times 3.5 would get me 0 plus 86. That means a student with 0 absences, because we plugged in 0 for x, because our y-intercept means x is 0, they'd get an 86 grade. Well, let's look at which one of these represents that. The average grade of a student with 0 absences is 86%. There we go. The average grade drops 86% every 3.5 absences. Well, that doesn't seem very accurate because 3 days is not going to cause your grade to go down 86%. So our answer is C. Now, based on that, let's look at part B, slope. We know our slope is our m. Our m in this case is negative 3.5. So my answer should include negative 3.5. So I already know it is not B. And it is not C. Now, if we looked at our table above and we kept going, the more absences, the farther your grade drops. Every single time you're absent, your grade drops 3.5%. And the average grade drops 3.5% every absence you have. So it's A. And finally, we have part C. So we want to know, using the model, estimate the grade of the total grade of a student who had 12 absences. So I know absences is represented by x, and I have an equation. So I can just substitute my x for 12, negative 3.5 times 12 plus 86 to get our answer. Now, I have to follow PEMDAS. So I start with multiplication, negative 42, and then we add on our 86, 44. So in this case, y is our average grade. So we know if a student is absent 12 days, their average grade is going to be a 44%. All right, and that's it for the Module 4 test review.